everyone, welcome to Lapery College of Fashion YouTube sewing channel. Our tutorial for today shall be on style formation and dart manipulation. How do we get different designs from our basic bodice pattern? And to do this, I've sketched out some designs here which we'll be looking at one after the other. But before we go into the detail now, if you are new to this channel, a big welcome to you. On this channel, we upload detailed pattern drafting tutorials weekly, and I would love you to be part of this family. Kindly do subscribe, and as you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that I get notified as I upload videos weekly. You may also follow us on Instagram at Lapery Online Tutorials, or join our Facebook group at Cut and Sew with Lapery for more tutorials. Now, for today's tutorial, I have here with me a small scale pattern, which is a basic bodice pattern, but this is the small scale pattern which I'll be using to do today's tutorial, and I've gone ahead to make a transfer here. I already have a video on how to draft your basic bodice pattern, as well as how to draft the small scale pattern which I'll be making use of for today's tutorial. Kindly look up the link in the description box below. And I've gone ahead now to cut out the pattern paper like so. So I shall be using this for the explanation one after the other. Here are my sketches drawn out as full-length blouses, but our focus shall just be on this upper part region. The Lapery's method of drafting basic bodice makes use of a simplified bodice which starts from the shoulder and ends at the waistline, and also makes use of the side darts. So that is what I shall be using. So our focus will just be on this upper part. Now, the first design I have here with me just represents our basic bodice pattern, which is this, having the side dart and the waist dart. So if you make use of this pattern just the way it is, haven't done your neck width, neck depth, and drawn out the style line, if you use this to produce your blouse just like this, the result will be this particular design for the upper part. So normally for you to make your design, the first thing is take your bodice, the front and the back piece like so, aligning the shoulder line together, and doing your neck width and the neck depth, and imputing the style line. You go ahead and cut, and maintaining the side dart and the waist dart the same way they are, you'll be arriving at this particular design. Let's quickly check this out. So I'll go ahead now and cut. And by the time I place this on fabric, cutting it out and adding my seam allowances, the result will be this first design. So I'll put my fabric on fold. Let me place it this way. So this is the folded end, and of course I'll be adding placing my fabric this way and adding seam allowances. At the end of the day, maintaining the side dart and the waist dart that we have, we shall be resulting at the first design. So here we are, and by the time we go ahead to construct the darts, we shall have this. And by the time we spread it, we already have this first design, which is our basic bodice pattern simplified. But it is not at all times that we want to do designs like this. So how then do we get different designs, other designs from this basic bodice pattern now? And that takes us to the topic for today, which is style formation and dart manipulation. To derive different styles, we have some techniques that we adopt. Number one, I hope you have your writing pad to put this down, is dart manipulation. Then we are not manipulating your dart, you engage the slashing techniques. When you say dart manipulation, it means to influence your dart in the direction you want it. On our basic bodice pattern, we have our waist dart and likewise our side dart. So how do I influence? How do I manipulate? How do I alter this waist dart and side dart to get different designs? So I'll be manipulating depending on the type of design I want to create. And if I'm not manipulating my dart, I can engage slash and spread techniques, and I can have a combination of the two on a particular blouse that I'm working on. So under that manipulation, we still have other ways of going about it. The first and popular is the dart transfer. So when you say transfer, it means to take your dart from the original position. Let's say the side dart now. We are taking it from this particular location to another location entirely on this pattern. Or I'll take my waist dart, I take it to another location entirely on this pattern, not leaving it on the waistline or on the side seam. So I have the second design here, and if you observe very well, like I said, we are focusing on the upper part. We have our waist dart, but we do not have the side dart again. Instead, we are having a shoulder dart. That means it's the side dart on our basic bodice pattern that we are going to be transferring to the shoulder. So now to get the shoulder dart, what I will do is I'll be drawing line. Actually, I can actually put it at any point on this my shoulder, whether I centralize it or not. Anywhere, let it just be from the shoulder. And I need to locate my apex, which is my bust point, which is very critical. So I'll be drawing a line from wherever it is I want it on the shoulder and where I want to take the dart to, and connect to my apex. So I'll draw the line like so, and after drawing the line, I'll need to cut through. So I'll be cutting it from here to touch the apex. Once it touches the apex now, what I'll do will be to now close my dart. This is the width of my side dart, which we do not need, that I want to transfer, and I'll be closing it up. Let me redraw my dart to touch the apex. We actually set it backwards initially. So I'll just now go ahead now and close up the width of my dart. Since we do not need it, then I'll hold it down with tape. Let me hold it down at the back. So with this now, I'll simply transfer my side dart now to the shoulder. So what we'll just do will be to place this on fabric, and we'll cut it out and we'll see the outcome of the result. So placing it on fabric and adding seam allowance, this is what we have. At this point where we transfer the dart to, we create this wedge shape. Don't take it straight, you create this wedge shape, and after the construction of the dart now, we could now trim and level up. So I'll go ahead now and cut. So here are the darts drawn out. So we'll go ahead now and construct and see the outcome. So this is what we have afterwards, and by the time you spread out on both sides, we already have this particular design where the dart is coming from the shoulder, and we're also having the waist dart. And of course, the bust area is not flat. You can see it popping up already, and which gives the fit. Even for the first explanation, you can see the bust area popping up, and that's where the fit comes out. So moving on, in this third design, we can now see that the waist dart has been transferred, no longer there. Instead, what we have here is at the neck. For this one I explained, the waist dart remained, we transferred the side dart. So it's also possible for you to transfer the waist dart. So in this explanation now, what we'll do is we'll take another pattern paper to do the explanation. So I'll be maintaining my side dart. It is the waist dart now that we want to move. We want to transfer. So we transfer it now to the neck region, and what you do is to transfer is to draw a line to where you are taking it to, and now we are taking it to the neck region. So I pick any point as desired on the neck line. So I'll pick this point. So I'll draw the line to connect with my apex, and afterwards I'll cut through from the neck down to the apex. The apex, your bust point, is a critical point. So I'll just cut through. Then I'll be closing up the waist there because that is the one we want to transfer. So I'll just close up the width this way and holding it down at the wrong side now with my tape. So this is what I have. So I'll go ahead and place this as well on another fabric and we'll see the outcome. Adding seam allowance and marking out the darts, and at this point where we transfer to, we create the wedge shape here. Do not take it straight, take it the way I've drawn out, and we've drawn out the length. The dart here is not as long as, it's not getting to the apex, so I'm stopping it somewhere here. So we'll cut now and do the sewing and see what we have. So this is what we shall have afterwards from this pattern, and spreading it out, can you see what we have? The waist that is no longer there is now at the neckline. For beginners, I'll suggest that when you draft your pattern like this, you can finish up this opening by placing it on another paper and securing it with your gum so that you can finish up that end neatly and you wouldn't have any issue while placing it on your fabric. So what you do is place it on another paper like so, then mark the width of the dart and finalize it wherever you want this dart to rest. By the time you construct your dart, it's either it rests on the side or the center, but I prefer it to rest on this side. So what you do is put it together and let it rest like so. Then use your tracing wheel now to trace out the neck. It's on the day now that you can now cut out, and of course you'll be back to the wedge shape that I created. So you do not understand why I did that. This is the reason. So this is what you'll be having. I'll just go ahead to place this on fabric and you still have this. Now, still on dart transfer, which is one of the ways of going about dart manipulation, I've explained transferring of side dart and I've explained transferring of waist dart. It's also possible that you transfer both the side dart and the waist dart such that when you look at your blouse, the design, it does not have any dart being constructed visibly, and that is what we want to learn here. On this particular design, we do not see any waist dart, neither do we see any side dart. What we have here is just seam line, and apart from that, we just have this style line drawn like that. So the second way under dart manipulation is to turn dart into seam line, and I'll be using these three designs to explain that. This is asymmetric, so for this particular design, I'll need two of my front piece to draft this, because by the time I cut this into two, what we have here is different from this. Unlike all these ones that I just treated, if you cut this into two, this design is also what you have here, and that was why we were able to work with just half of our pattern. Likewise this and this, but for this is asymmetric, so I need two. So I'll go ahead and get another pattern front piece this way, then transfer all the markings onto the other side, then use my tape to secure the two together, then we'll start our drafting. So having done this, I need to start from this armhole region. I'll be drawing the line to touch the apex, and by such I'll be able to transfer both the side dart and the waist dart. So I'll go ahead and draw the line. This is the apex, so I'll pick the particular point from the armhole. I'll connect it straight on like so. And having done that, I'll cut through to touch the apex. And with this now, I'll be able to transfer my dart. There's setback, so let me redraw the dart to connect with the apex. So I'll cut. Then close the width of the dart, the side dart, holding it down, and close the width of the waist dart. And and I'll hold both down. So I'm holding it at the back so that it's not visible to the surface. So this is what I'll be having. So the next thing will now be to draw this other style line, which will be from apex to apex. So I'll just draw the straight line. And once that is done, that gives me opportunity to close up this waist dart and the side dart once you're able to draw a line touching the apex. So I'll close this up, which is transfer, then be able to close this up, then I'll hold both down with tape. Your pattern must always remain flat. So I'll hold it down at the back, hold it down at the back like so. And the next thing is from this other apex now, we'll draw the style line to this region, which is the dart leg. So I'll just draw it this way. Then I'll cut. And with this, we have been able to arrive at this particular design. With this design, you can do a mix and match. You can do this Ankara and plain fabric, or you can do two different colors, mix and match, and we arrive at this. And this does not have any dart visibly, but by the time we sew it, join it together, we'll observe that the bust region will still pop up, giving it the fit that the bodice should have. Let me try and put it together. So this is what you'll be having afterwards when it's properly sewn. So let's place it on fabric and try to see. So here are the pattern pieces placed on fabric, adding seam allowance. So go ahead and join and see what we have afterwards. So this is what we'll have afterwards after being sewn. Here's the wrong side. So we've been able to achieve this by transferring both the side dart and the waist dart and turning them to seam line. So still on seam line, we'll be learning this armhole princess and this shoulder princess. So with this now, we'll have our basic bodice pattern just like this, and this is, we are working with a single pattern since it's not asymmetric. And the next thing we need to do will be to draw our style line, which is from the armhole. And here is our apex. So you pick the particular point you want it from the armhole and you draw it. And this is best drawn curved like this. So what we'll do will be to cut through, still adopting transfer. And once we cut through touching the apex now, we can be able to close our side darts. And by the time I close this up, I'll hold it down with self-tape like so. Now the waist dart will no longer remain as waist dart. Instead, we'll turn it to seam line. So I'll go ahead and cut this through. And as I'm cutting it through, I'll cut off the waist dart. So turning it into seam line. So this is what we now have afterwards, and it's best to properly label. This is our center front, this is our side seam. Now this now becomes our inseam. So this is what I'll now take on my fabric, and all I'll do will be to add the seam allowance, which I'll use to join these two pieces together, and by so doing I've achieved my armhole princess. So placing it on fabric, we have this. I decided to use another color for the side piece so that we can actually see the beauty. So I'll go ahead now and join. So here we are with our armhole princess upper part. You can see the bust region popping up even without any form of lining or stay. is already in place, and that's the beauty of pattern drafting. Can you see? So to do the shoulder princess, which is similar to this, all we'll just do will be to draw the style line from the shoulder line. So I'll pick the particular point where I want it to start from the shoulder, then just connect it with the apex to draw my line. Then I'll cut through. And now I've done this, I'll be able to close up the side dart. You might need to redraw this side dart to touch the apex, so we'll close it up the width like so, and holding it down with tape. Now for the waist dart, since we want to turn it to seam line, we'll just follow it through like this and cut off the dart in the process. So I'll be cutting on these two lines, the dart legs. So I already have my shoulder princess. Here is my center front, which will be on fold. And here is my side seam, and this is the end seam, end seam. So I'll place it on fabric now, adding half inch seam allowances to join. So here we are, placed on fabric this way and adding seam allowances. So after sewing now, this is what we'll be having. And see the wrong side. So we have our shoulder princess, and with this now our dart was actually turned to seam line, which is the second method under dart manipulation. So the next method is to actually move, or sometimes says shift or tilt our dart. And to explain this, I'll be using these two designs to explain movement, tilting and shifting of darts. Now, to move a dart simply means to take it from the original position to another location, but still maintaining it on the line where the dart is. Take for instance, this is side dart, but now it's no longer remain at the original position, but it's still along the side seam line. For this now, we are having the dart along the waistline. Now, not really at the original location where our waist dart will be, but it's still on the waistline. So this was tilted, or say was moved or shifted. Likewise this, but still maintaining the original line, which is either the side seam line or on the waistline. We have talked about transfer, which is complete taking away from original location to another location entirely. But when you talk about movement, tilting or shifting, it will still be on the same line, but not on the actual location, but could move a little or tilt or shift. So I'll first explain this. Taking my pattern paper now, for this particular design, what we'll do is to first measure the width of the dart, the side dart, which we want to move now, and this is about half an inch. Then we'll take it to the particular location where we want it to be and remark the same width. So this, we are just simply moving it, we are tilting it, we are shifting it from this original location, but still at the side seam line. And I'll go ahead and redraw the line to touching the apex like so. And what we'll do to this first dart will just be to clean it, to wipe it off. So wiping off the side dart, the original side dart, we'll have this. Then the next thing we need to do will be to transfer the waist dart down to this location so that we get this particular design. And as we have been taught, to transfer will mean to draw a line where you want it to go to. So I'll simply cut through the middle of this, touching the apex. And I'll be able to close up the width of the waist dart, making sure that it is flat, and secure it with tape like so. So with this, we've been able to arrive at this particular design. So all I'll do will be to just place it on another paper now and finish off the pattern. So I'll remark the width of the dart, which is here and here, then closing it up now. Then I'll let it rest on whichever side I want it to rest on. So something like this. Then using my tracing wheel now, trace it and spread it out to recut properly. So this is what I'll be having afterward, and once constructed now, we'll be having this design. So placing it on fabric, let's see. So placing it on fabric and adding seam allowance, marking out the width of the dart. We'll go over to the sewing machine now to sew it. This is what we now have after sewing, which has taught us how to tilt, to move or shift our dart along the side seam. But we had to transfer the waist dart down here. But first, movement took place before the transfer. And here is it on the wrong side. And having constructed, you can still see that the bust region is still popping up. So in the same vein, we'll be treating this. We'll have to move, tilt, shift our waist dart to where we want it to be. Now you can see that it's actually at the center line, which is here, the center front. So we'll get the width of the dart. We'll measure the width of the dart that we have here. This is about 3/4. Then we'll go ahead to marking the width here. So from the center front down here, then I'll redraw the line to connecting with the apex. So having done this now, we need to clean up, wipe off the original location of the waist dart. And having done this now, to get the design, I will now transfer my side dart down here. It is not in all cases that I will need to transfer, but because of the design we are looking at, it's possible you have this and this for your design. So to get the design now, I'll transfer, which means I'll just cut through and close up the waist dart. So cutting it through this way, redrawing my side dart to touch the apex. I'll close this up and hold it down with tape. Then I'll go ahead to place this on another paper now and finish up the design. Placing it on another paper now, I'll mark the width, which is from here down here. Then I'll prepare the dart, whichever direction I want it to face. But this I'll let it face the side this way. Then I'll go ahead now and redraw and trace out the waistline area properly. And with this, I'll cut. Let me check it again. This is what we are having. I'll go ahead now and place it on fabric and see what we have. So placing it on fabric and marking out our dart, adding seam allowance, we'll have this. We'll go ahead now to construct the dart and see the final outcome. So this is what we'll have for this particular design using this pattern, and here's the wrong side. And with that, we have been taught how to move, tilt or shift our dart along the same path. Now, another way of going about our dart manipulation will be to wipe off and sometimes to cut off. So we have wiping and cutting off, and we do this when we want to achieve something free. To create fullness, we will wipe off. The dot allowance will still be in the pattern, but we are not making it, so we just clean it, in that case to be free. So to explain that, let me get this pattern, and I'm using that to explain this. So for us to have a free top, we will not need our waist dart being constructed. So what we'll do will be to just wipe it off completely. And of course, you know that at the waistline we have our actual waist measurement plus the dart intake. And since we are wiping it off, we are not holding the dart in any form. It means that the waistlines will be free. But for our side dart, what we'll do will be to transfer it. So we'll go ahead and transfer the side dart now to the waistline, which will add up more freeness. So I'll cut through this way, so that while joining our side, front and back will still be the same, will be equal at the side piece. So I'll close up the waist dart now, adding up more freeness to the pattern. And having cleaned up the waist dart, you can see now it is wider, and this is how we'll be using it. So if we are doing something long, we'll only extend it now to blouse length, and with this now, it has become free. So this is wiping off. So once we wipe this off, you just transfer your side dart to the waist to add up more freeness. Now for cutting off, we'll cut off when we want to achieve something fitted. Probably we are using stretchy fabric which does not require any form of dart. And since our basic bodice pattern has dart already imputed into it, so what we'll do will be to cut it off. And to cut it off now, because at the waistline we have waist measurement plus dart intake, the side dart was necessary because of difference in length of front and back. So when it comes to cutting off, what you do will be first transfer your side dart to the waist line. We'll close this up. Then we'll now go back to the waistline and take our actual waist measurement. So I'm transferring side dart now to waist line to add up to the waist dart, holding it down. So I'll now go back to my waistline now. Since I just need my actual waist measurement, I will now measure my waist measurement. The actual waist measurement already will be having a double dart here, so which will be probably somewhere here. Then what I will do will be to blend it with the waist, to the bust, and actually cut off this, so that the waistline will have our actual waist measurement, no form of dart. And we use this for stretchy fabric. Maybe I'm making something a body or bodycomb material which will be fitted. Of course, you do not need any form of dart. So this is how to manipulate your dart to making your pattern conform with the particular design you want to do. And just go ahead and place this on your fabric. So that is all about dart manipulation. So when we are not manipulating our darts, we could use the slash and spread techniques to get more variations of designs. And I have here some designs sketched out which are examples of slash and spread techniques, but we are not going to be treating that in today's topic. Up next shall be the part 2, which is style formation using slash and spread techniques. So in that video we are going to be treating this and more. I'm sure you've learned a lot from this tutorial. Kindly go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and you are yet to subscribe, kindly do subscribe, like and share this video among friends and family. Let them know what we are doing on this channel. Until my next video, thank you for watching. Bye for now.